You keep watching others' success stories, but there's a hidden reason why your effort isn't turning into results. And it's not what you think. Have you ever noticed how life moves differently for different people? Someone gets a job offer you've been chasing for months. A friend announces they're moving abroad. Your colleague just got engaged to their dream partner. And there you are, stuck in the same place, doing the same things, wondering when it's finally your turn. It's suffocating, isn't it? When you scroll through your phone and see everyone's highlight reel, there's this whisper in your head, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I made wrong choices. Maybe I'm just late. But what if that whisper is lying to you? There's something most people don't understand about growth. You see the results of others' journeys, the promotion, the wedding, the visa stamp, but you never see the invisible part, the part that happened when no one was watching. Think about this. What if the reason you're not moving forward right now isn't because you're failing, but because you're being prepared? There's an ancient wisdom in our Dharma that says the seed doesn't break in the soil because it's weak. It breaks because something inside it is becoming too big to stay contained. The seed experiences darkness, pressure, dissolution, and it calls this suffering. But the seed knows something we have forgotten. That breakdown is actually a breakthrough disguised as pain. When you're standing still while everyone around you seems to be racing ahead, something profound is actually happening inside you. Your character is deepening, your understanding is sharpening, but your purpose is crystallizing. Here's what I want you to think about. Are you actually stuck? Or are you actually sinking deeper into your foundation? There's a difference. The warrior who rushes into battle without understanding his weapon, he loses quickly. But the warrior who takes time to master his craft, to understand himself, to build his inner strength, he becomes unstoppable. Which warrior are you becoming right now? This is why patience in our tradition isn't weakness, it's a strategy. It's not about waiting passively, it's about using this time to strengthen yourself. Maybe this is why you haven't gotten that job yet. Because the version of you that lands it needs to be different from who you are today. Maybe this is why that relationship didn't work out. Because your actual soulmate is waiting for the version of you that's been through this fire. You're not behind, you're being tempered. Like steel in a forge, real strength comes from the pressure, the heat, the hammering, not from avoiding it. And here's the part that changes everything. The universe, or Brahman, or Krishna, or whatever name resonates with your soul, isn't punishing you by making you wait, it's protecting you. Sounds poetic? Maybe. But think about it practically. How many people do you know who got everything they wanted quickly and then lost it just as fast because they weren't ready for it? Their mind couldn't handle the responsibility. Their character wasn't strong enough to keep it. You're being given something better than speed. You're being given the kind of success that lasts. Right now, in this moment of stillness, you have something that people at the finish line don't have anymore. You have hunger. You have clarity about what matters. You have the ability to choose who you want to become before success arrives. Most people, when they finally make it, realize too late that they sacrificed the wrong things to get there. They have the house but lost the family. They have the money but lost their peace. They have the title but lost themselves. But you're still deciding, and that's your superpower. Before we go further, I need you to answer something, not for me, but for yourself. What if everything you think you're missing right now is actually protecting something sacred in you? What would change if you stopped seeing this waiting period as a punishment and started seeing it as an investment? Let me tell you something that sounds simple, but changes everything once you really understand it. The reason you feel left behind isn't because others are faster. It's because you're measuring your journey by their timeline. Think about it. You're comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 15. You're looking at their ending and wondering why your beginning doesn't look the same. It's like comparing a sapling to a full-grown tree and asking why the sapling isn't giving shade yet. Of course it's not. But here's what you're not seeing. That person who got the promotion, they probably failed 3 times before. That friend living abroad, they probably faced rejection from 5 countries first. That couple getting married, they've probably seen relationships that didn't work out. You're seeing the highlight, not the documentary. While you're busy feeling inadequate about your current scene, you're completely missing what's actually being built inside you right now. There's a principle in Dharma tapasya, not the kind where you suffer for suffering's sake, but the kind where you refine yourself through effort, patience, and persistence, where every obstacle becomes a tool for transformation. Right now, you're in your tapasya phase. During tapasya, something invisible is happening. Your resilience is growing. Your discernment is deepening. You're learning what truly matters to you versus what you thought you wanted because everyone else wanted it. Do you realize how rare that is? Most people never get this gift, and they're too busy chasing to ever question if they're chasing the right thing. But you have the space to ask the hard question, to rebuild your goals on truth instead of comparison. That's not a disadvantage. That's an advantage so profound, most people miss it entirely. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You know what separates people who eventually succeed from people who stay stuck? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even an opportunity. It's what they do during the waiting. Some people use this time to spiral. They consume content about success, but don't build anything. They complain about their situation, but don't change it. They wait for motivation to strike like lightning, instead of building discipline like a daily practice. Then there are people who understand something different. They understand that right now, in this exact moment, when no one's watching, when there's no external pressure, when failure has no audience, this is the real work. This is when you read the books that will change your thinking. This is when you develop the habits that will change your life. This is when you have conversations with yourself that will change your direction. This is when you build the foundation that will make success not just possible, but inevitable. The difference between someone who makes it and someone who doesn't often comes down to this. What did they do in the invisible hours? You're being given access to those invisible hours right now. What are you going to do with them? Because here's what I know from seeing thousands of journeys. The person who looks back 5 years from now and says, I'm so grateful for that waiting period because I used it to become unstoppable. That person made a decision today. Not a big dramatic decision, just small ones, repeated ones. Reading instead of scrolling, practicing instead of procrastinating, believing instead of doubting, building instead of breaking. And the beautiful part is, the universe responds to that. There's a law in our tradition, the law of karma. Not in the way most people misunderstand it, as what goes around comes around, but as every action creates momentum, every effort creates energy, every decision creates direction. Right now, your efforts might not be showing results yet, but they're creating momentum that will eventually become unstoppable. It's like pushing a car. Initially, you're pushing with all your strength and barely moving, but that push is creating momentum. At some point, the momentum becomes so strong that the car moves on its own. Your effort transforms into momentum, and momentum transforms into results. You're in the pushing phase, but you're not failing, you're building. Think about the last time you learned something difficult. Remember how frustrating it was, how you felt like you weren't getting anywhere, and then one day, something just clicked. All that practice suddenly made sense. All that effort suddenly paid off. That's not luck. That's the natural law of growth, and you're living it right now. So the real question isn't, when will my turn come? That's passive. That's waiting for someone else to give you permission. The real question is, who am I becoming while I wait? Because that person, the version of you that's being built in this silence, in this struggle, in this apparent stillness, that version is the one who will actually be ready for what's coming. The success that's meant for you won't recognize you if you're not ready for it. You have to become the person who deserves it, not through arrogance, but through genuine transformation. And that's exactly what this spirit is giving you. Here's something I want you to sit with. What aspect of yourself are you developing right now that you'll be grateful for later? Is it patience, resilience, clarity, humility, strength? Don't skip over this question. Really think about it, because the answer to this question is actually the answer to what is this waiting period for. There's a moment that comes in every real transformation. A moment when everything shifts. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's so subtle that you miss it if you're not paying attention. But it happens, and when it does, you realize that all those invisible hours, all that patience, all that trust, it was leading here. In our scriptures, there's a concept called Kal, which means time. But it's not just any time, it's divine timing. The exact moment when the universe has prepared everything for you to step into your purpose. Most people don't understand this. They think timing is random. But what if timing isn't about luck? What if it's about readiness meeting opportunity? Think about a fruit tree. You can't force it to bear fruit by hitting the branch. You can't threaten it or beg it. You can only give it the right conditions: water, sunlight, nutrients, patience, and then at exactly the right season, fruit appears. Not a day earlier, not because you demanded it, but because all the internal processes have completed. You're that tree right now, and somewhere inside you, processes are completing. Your character is ripening. Your understanding is deepening. Your faith is strengthening. Your vision is clarifying. And when all these processes reach their natural conclusion, your season will come. But here's the thing that separates people who actually experience this breakthrough from those who give up right before it. They don't abandon the tree in winter, thinking it's dead. Winter looks like death. The branches are bare. Nothing is growing. No one can see what's happening underground. But underground, the roots are strengthening. The tree is gathering energy for spring. You might be in winter right now. You might be in that phase when nothing visible is happening. where you're working but not seeing results, where you're preparing but the world hasn't noticed, where you're becoming but you haven't yet arrived. That's not a sign you're failing. That's a sign you're exactly where you need to be. Now, I want to share something that might sound contradictory, but it's actually the deepest truth. Divine timing doesn't mean you sit and do nothing. It means you do everything you can, and then you trust what you can't control. There's a balance. On one side, you have effort, your karma, the actions you take, the skills you build, the character you develop, the habits you establish. This is your responsibility. This is what's in your control. On the other side, you have surrender, your faith, the trust that the universe is working with you, not against you, that there's an intelligence far greater than your anxiety, orchestrating things you can't see. This is what's beyond your control. Most people make one of two mistakes. Some people only focus on effort. They hustle endlessly, burn out, and wonder why success feels hollow when it arrives. They forgot that some things require letting go. Other people only focus on surrender. They wait for miracles without doing the work. They pray but don't prepare. They believe but don't build. And then they wonder why nothing changes. But you're being called to something different. You're being called to work like everything depends on you, and trust like everything depends on the universe. Work like your success is entirely your responsibility. Show up, build, learn, grow. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Just do the work that's in front of you with everything you have, and then release the outcome. This is where most people fail. They do the work but remain attached to a specific result happening on a specific timeline. And when it doesn't happen exactly as they imagine, they feel betrayed. They lose faith. But what if the betrayal isn't from the universe but from your limited imagination about what success should look like? What if the job you didn't get would have trapped you in a city where you don't belong? What if the relationship that didn't work out would have dimmed your light? What if the plan that fell apart was actually protecting you from a path that would have led you away from your true purpose? The universe isn't denying you, it's sometimes redirecting you. You can only see that in hindsight. So right now, in this moment, what if your job isn't to figure out how everything will work out? What if your job is just to trust that it will be in the way that's actually best for you? Here's a question for you, and I mean really sit with this one. If you knew that everything happening right now, even the painful parts, was exactly preparing you for something magnificent, would you still be anxious about the timeline? Would you still feel left behind? Or would you finally be able to breathe? Because that's the shift that happens when you truly understand divine timing. The anxiety doesn't come from your circumstances. It comes from your resistance to your circumstances. It comes from fighting against where you are instead of accepting it as necessary. The moment you stop fighting and start learning, everything changes. The waiting becomes purposeful. The struggle becomes meaningful. The silence becomes sacred. Then one day, maybe tomorrow, maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, you'll be sitting with a cup of coffee, scrolling through your phone, and you'll see something that makes you smile. Maybe it's an opportunity that found you. Maybe it's a realization about yourself. Maybe it's a conversation that changes everything. And in that moment, you'll understand. You'll see how every single moment of waiting was actually a moment of becoming. You'll realize that you were never behind. You were always exactly on time. So here's what I want you to remember. You're not late. You're not failing. You're becoming. Everything that's happening right now, the waiting, the work, the doubt, the discipline, it's all building something inside you that the world will eventually need. Your breakthrough is coming, not because you deserve it, but because you're preparing for it. The only question is, are you going to use this time to become stronger, or are you going to waste it waiting? The choice is yours every single day. It's yours. So here's what I need from you. In the comments below, tell me one thing you're going to do differently, starting today. Not someday, but today. Is it reading more? Building a skill? Starting that project? Letting go of that doubt? Write it down, make it real. Because that's how transformation begins. And if this resonated with you, if you felt even a small shift in how you're seeing your journey, then share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because someone in your life is sitting where you were sitting before you watched this. If you found value in this message and want to support our work, you can buy us a coffee. The link is in the description and pinned in the comment section below. Every cup of coffee helps us create more content like this. Thank you for believing in what we're building here. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Trust the timing.